Come move, even though you work in schools, come move towards the front. You can't hear me? Hello? I gotta be right up in it. Can you all, like, up on it? Can you all come please sit down? Of course. What kind of question is that? I don't know how to get it out of here. Pop out? Here we go.
I bid you welcome into this place. It's such an honor we all are here. I bid you welcome to the Network for College Success. With hearts to see and hearts to hear. It's not by accident we are in this place. We've come from far, we've come from near. We are called to purpose, a purpose we embrace. With love and courage and hope so dear. So I bid you welcome into this place. Oh, what an honor we all are here. I bid you welcome. Be present in this space with love and courage and hope so dear. With hearts to see and hearts to hear.
We are so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for being willing to stop looking out the window. For a short period of time, we can return to that momentarily. It feels so good to be in person together. This is kind of we were going to have a 15th anniversary party, and then the pandemic happened, so this is kind of like 16 going on 17. And it feels so different to be in person, to feel your energy. We named this a necessary space. This is the theme for the evening, and there's a lot of, we're going to explore that theme. And this is also necessary for us to be together, to build our community, to fellowship with each other, and celebrate our partnerships, our relationships, the work we've done in the Chicago Public Schools together. This is also the equinox. I just want to acknowledge that. It's a time of shift. It's a time of shift. A time of balance and shift. This is also, I want to celebrate Latinx Heritage Month. Just want to hold that up. And although she needs no introduction, I am going to introduce my co-executive director, Chris Payne, who welcomed you in just moments ago. I think she's well known. If you don't know her, I'm not going to do a whole bio, but briefly, she joined the Network for College Success many years ago and started our first freshman success work, built it out of ideas into reality that turned into the framework, the toolkit, and national presence in helping other districts do what we've done in Chicago in raising the graduation rate so much, so steadily over such a long period of time in a big district. And that's a big deal. And with that, I'm going to introduce the Dean of the Crown Family School of Social Work Policy and Practice, Deb Gorman-Smith.
Thanks. I'm a little bit shorter than Sarah. And I promise you I will not sing. That would be ugly. So as you heard, I'm Deborah Gorman-Smith. I'm Dean of the University of Chicago Crown Family School of Social Work Policy and Practice, and I am thrilled to welcome you to this celebration and in this very beautiful room. It was so fun. I'm privileged enough to come to many events in this room, and so I forgot what it was like when people first walk into this space on both sides and look out. It's just a really beautiful space. We are honored to welcome CPS CEO Pedro Martinez to tonight's event. Thank you. I want to thank NCS co-directors Sarah Duncan and Chris Payne, NCS visionary Melissa Roderick, and the entire NCS team and our partners, funders, and allies who devote their energies, talents, and wisdom in driving this important work. All of you here have shown that we can improve high school graduation and college success for Chicago students. This evening is well-deserved and, as Sarah said, long overdue, an opportunity to celebrate in person at last. We're here tonight to salute NCS's exceptional accomplishments, the work you do every day, and the results achieved over more than 15 years, and especially during the past 2.5, during the most trying of circumstances. So I hope you'll spend the evening renewing friendships, making new friends, and taking a moment to reflect and take pride in a shared commitment to improve the education of our young people. When I reflect on the history of the Crown Family School, it is clear to me that NCS embodies the unique vision expressed by our founders. They envisioned a better world and reimagined the profession in the process. They were committed to first-rate research and believed that science and evidence should inform policy and practice. They maintained that education didn't just happen within the classroom, but also in the community. And they insisted that the work should reflect the major issues of the day and have direct impact. That was their vision more than 100 years ago. Today, you're bringing to life those core values and aspirations, and that's why NCS is a critical part of the Crown Family School. We are united in our vision to help students reach their highest potential, to create a culture of collaboration among educators, and to translate research into action. And in this case, the research from the UChicago Consortium to make real impact. We know that the right blend of research, anti-racist leadership, and commitment can reverse the dropout rate, transform schools, and create a solid pathway for higher achievement. Achieving those goals are only possible because of you, your resilience, and the collective power we apply. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and thank you again for contributing to the outstanding success of NCS and Chicago's educational advances. And now I will turn it back to Sarah. Thank you.
That's true. Thank you so much, Deb. We appreciate it so much. It's now my pleasure and an honor to introduce the CEO of the Chicago Public Schools, Pedro Martinez. I can't overstate the importance of the partnership with the Chicago Public Schools over many years. We've said this many times, I think it bears repeating, that we've never had a goal of having a boutique network that proved that we were better than the rest of the district. That's never been the goal. Someone asked me, well, what about your control group? And I was like, we're ruining it as fast as we can. we're doing everything we can to ruin the control group because we want the median to change, not a specific group of young people to prove that we're better than somebody else, because we're not. CEO Martinez, I want to welcome you. We're so happy to have you back in Chicago. We know you have deep, deep roots here in Chicago and are so grateful for your leadership and your how you show up for young people in this city. I'm also a Chicago public school parent, and I really appreciate the ways you've been communicating to us as parents in this district over the last, gosh, it's a year? Wow, it's a year. Okay, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. So I just think it's just so cool to be here, right? Because I think for all of us have been living through this pandemic, and it's still, I think it's important to repeat that, these kind of activities weren't happening last year or the year before. And so I think it's just amazing for us to be in community, to be here together. And then I don't know about you, this is my first time in this building. And I've grown up in Chicago, and so it's always amazing to me at my age, over 50 now, that there's a lot of firsts for me. But I will tell you, it also grounds me because, when I think about our students, and, we had an event last year where we brought a group of students to the Willis Tower, which I still remember the Sears Tower, but that's a different thing, but but it was amazing to me, the majority of, and I think Maurice, you might have been with me at this event, it was the majority of the students that were there, that was their first time in the Willis Tower. And they had got to spend the whole day there doing, planning and looking at different policies that, they wanted us to change. So again, that always grounds me. So first of all, I just want to thank the Network for College Success. I want to thank Sarah Duncan, Crystal Payne, Deborah Gorman-Smith, and Beth Brown, one, for organizing this event, but more importantly, for the partnership that you really have with our district. One of the things that makes, it's interesting, since I've come back, so I'll be finishing a year at the end of this month. And it's interesting because I have not been to one event or met one person who doesn't say, CEO, superintendent, you have a really tough job. And I was like, yeah, but what I appreciate is everybody knows it, right? So it's so I just remind people, give me a little slack, if it, especially as we're still working on stuff. Remember, it is a tough job. But what I love though, and I don't always get to say this, what makes it worthwhile is not only our mission and the core work we do and the interaction we have with students. I think right now, just earlier, Judy and I came from we did a dedication of a playground at Talcott Elementary School. Oh my God, if you would have seen the excitement of those kids, it was just, to see those kind of experiences, but also more important, that there are so many people that care about our district. There are so many people that care about our students. And for me, I'll tell you, it hits home because I grew up in Chicago. I tell these stories a lot. As a young person, I always just had a lot of questions. Came to this country as an immigrant, having to learn a new language, landing in the Lower West Side. And then I was, fortunate enough to have teachers and counselors, especially in my high school at Benito Juarez, but it started even from elementary, that really, to this day, I still don't know, they saw something. And I tell this to our teachers and to our principals. The power that we have to help children see what they can't see, it is the most powerful thing that we have in our society. And when that is applied, and you'll still have kids like me who somehow end up, going, 360-degree back in this role, still asking the question, what did Mr. Asher see in 6th grade? Because I couldn't see it. What did Mr. Tibbet see in 7th and 8th grade? I couldn't see it. And then I won't even go into it was a relay race at the high school level, folks. It took a lot of teachers. And they saw it and I couldn't see it. And that is the work that our team does every single day. So I want to also acknowledge Paige Ponder, who is now a current board member, and And so, you know what's fascinating? When I was here in CPS, I was here at CPS, so just so everybody knows, this is my third superintendency. I was in CPS during the 03 to 09 era, and it was a lot of change. So I know that, NCS came on just as I left, because I left to Nevada by that time. I was the number 2 in Clark County, eventually became superintendent in another part of the state, and then ended up in San Antonio. But there was a lot of change happening. And this is one of the homework assignments I give my students. I say, and I'll give this homework assignment to you, because I see different ages, I think, across the room. So I say, I tell them, if you know somebody who graduated from a CPS high school back in the 70s, 80s, by the way, I added 70s later. I wasn't doing 70s, but now I am. 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And if they didn't go to Lane Tech, they didn't go to Whitney Young, schools like that, ask them how many freshmen they started with. Ask them how many seniors they graduated with. And I remember a time when we had the vast majority of our high schools with under a 50% graduation rate. I remember a time when we had a large percentage of our high schools with a 20% or lower graduation rate. And it wasn't a good environment. I can tell you that I would visit the high schools, and around that time we were changing curriculum. We were trying to put metrics. And one of the things I love, by the way, was I still remember to this day, looking at all the research from the consortium. And we were looking for those nuggets, right? Like I still remember when the research report came out that grades really matter. And we're like, okay, grades really matter, right? Like, because everybody, remember, now you gotta go back, folks. This was all, the debates were happening about ACT and SAT and what is the role of these assessments and how did they, there was a lot. This is all pre-Common Core. You have to understand, I call these truly formational years. They were formational years for me, but even in our world. And there was just a lot of debate. And so it was always a consortium that would come back and ground us. And we'd be like, okay, I think we're going in the right direction, right? I think these are the right things. And then we started talking about freshmen on track. Because we saw that if students started, we saw predictors, sadly, that we could tell within, with using 8th grade data and even the first semester of high school, we could predict who was gonna drop out. By the way, one of the things that is really personal for me, one of the reasons I joined CPS, because I went back to my home high school, Benito Juarez. And what I learned was, the school is designed that way. It was planned, right? They knew they were going to lose many of the sophomores. They knew they were going to lose many of the juniors. And to be honest with you, it angered me, because I remember thinking, I grew up with so many students that I thought were pretty smart, but maybe for whatever reason, their life circumstances didn't allow them to have the chances I had. And so now to look back, fast forward now, with this partnership that we have, that is helping our high schools, 15 high schools, helping our students. Our district, even during the pandemic, had a record graduation rate for the class of 21. Record. Class of 22 is not out yet, but we're already seeing at the secondary level, we're seeing upward ticks. So we struggle with, we saw achievement gaps widen, especially at the elementary level, very consistent with the nation, but at the high school level, we started seeing upward trends again. One of the most interesting ones is that we know that our last year's graduating class had a record level of scholarships that they generated. So we're gonna see how that translates into college going, college persistence. So we have seen the metrics move. The freshmen on track, it is now like a staple in our district. And of course, now we have sophomores on track, now we have 11th graders on track. By the way, these are things that are not being copied nationally. And then as I think about where we're going, just to conclude for the future, there's always a lot of challenges. This city is very political. Again, it's a tough job, as people tell me. But I see nothing but opportunity and optimism. The energy that exists right now in our schools, the way our students are feeling, I am confident we're gonna have a strong academic year. More importantly, I think we're going to be able to look and really truly reflect on what's happened over the last few years and realize these systems are really strong, right? Especially I'm seeing this in many of our high schools. These systems, we need to revisit, right? We need to revisit how we address literacy in the early grades, right? How do we, our strategies, especially, this is nationwide, right? Everybody's revisiting how we teach literacy. It's something to really think about, right? Balanced literacy, had its benefits, but we're now rethinking that. How we're preparing students for dual credit. By the way, one of my passions, last year, record number of students earning college credit while they were still in high school. And I will end with this, because this for me kind of solidifies, my value. One of the things that I've learned, everyone, doing this for over 20 years, this debate of college versus career, not a thing, not a thing. By the way, it's a coin with just two sides of it, but it's one coin. And I'll tell you, the more we can design pathways that connect that for students, we're gonna see more success. And the other, instead of us preparing, they just gotta be there. So instead of preparing them for college, put them in college courses. You wanna prepare them for career paths? Put them in those internships, put them in those career paths. Because when they see it, whew, you cannot hold them back. And I'll tell you this, doing this for 20 years, different cities, different states, children of poverty, children of color, you cannot hold them back. You just try. When they can see that pathway, they're like, okay, how do I do it? And we know this, right? They will work. They will work. I don't care how behind they are. They will work, and they're like, I see it. And you cannot stop them. So that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I'm passionate with, this partnership that we're gonna continue to do. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to our keynote speaker, to Crystal Payne, the co-executive director of the Network for College Success. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. That was really weak. Let's try that again. Now, we must be full. Those are the hors d'oeuvres were. Where's Rosa? Thank you so much, Rosa. Those hors d'oeuvres must have been really good. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. All right, that sounds a little more fortified. All right. I am Chris Payne, co-executive director here at the Network for College Success. And before I even get into these notes that I'm going to read, no, I'm not. I'm not really going to read notes to you. Speaking very candidly, I like to begin with an intention, and my intention today is thankfulness, gratitude, because it's not by accident that any of us are in here in this space right now. We have everything we've gone through, everything we've experienced has prepared us to be where we are right now. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for CEO Martinez stepping into the role of leadership. It is a heavy mantle to carry. And sometimes people take that for granted. And they say it's a tough job, but they don't know the sacrifices that have to be made in order to carry that charge with integrity. So thank you. I'd like to also thank Dr. Deb Gorman-Smith. We are developing a relationship. Come to find out, we have a whole lot in common in terms of our personalities, as we were talking earlier. Thank you so much for taking the charge. The charge to lead Crown Family School of Social Work, Policy, Practice. I hope I got all of those right, because sometimes if I have to say it really fast, I mix it up. Thank you for the partnership. Thank you for the community in which the Network for College Success lives here at the University of Chicago. I'm thankful for the NCS staff, our team. We have some phenomenal folks, phenomenal, brilliant, hilarious, wacky, energetic, committed team members at NCS. If you're an NCS staff member, could you just wave your hand in the air? So thankful. And for our cousins up the street, The to and through, Dom already knew before I even said it. I'm so thankful for you all as well, our to and through family, our consortium family, who we go to with our questions. And you make the time to have the conversations and even come back with more questions for us. So we're feeding each other. We're feeding off each other for the betterment of schools for all young people. And I'm thankful to our partner schools, all of our principals, our teachers, counselors. I see you, Em. I see you over there. I see you, Michelle. I see you, Ellen. And there's a saying, once you're an NCSer, you're always an NCSer. I see you over there, Maurice, AKA Maurice Cup. I love you dearly. Love you dearly, Megan. Those of you who have gone with us, funders, our friends, you've had conversations with us, you've encouraged us, you've held us, you've pushed our thinking. And most importantly, you stay connected because the work that we do is vitally important in this day and age. You know, NCS started in 2006, bringing researchers and school practitioners to the same table to talk about what matters for high school success so that every student could experience success. You know, those conversations then led into coaching. Sarah Howard was there in the beginning. Sarah Duncan, Mary Ann, and Melissa were in a back room somewhere figuring all of this stuff out. They're like, how are we gonna get this motley crew together? And you found us. Sometimes finding us at the grocery store. I mean, I had a conversation with MA. That's how I ended up at the Network for College Success. But these conversations then expanded into coaching around what matters for high schoolers 9th through 12th grade. So it's not just freshman success, but also talking about what it means to experience high quality education. And what does it mean for a young person to have a viable post-secondary pathway? All of this is at NCS. You know, I joined in 2009 as the freshman success coach. And now today I stand before you as co-executive director. And in that time, I've seen a whole lot. I've seen us focusing just our work here in Chicago to expanding to a movement nationwide, across the country, all of these districts and various schools that are tapping into not only the research, but also the practice and the heart of what we do. That's what matters. You know, we said that this space is a necessary space. But before I even get into that, I have to say I've seen NCS teacher leaders, I've seen NCS counselors go on to become assistant principals, principals, and coaches. I've seen NCS principals go on, hey, I see you, Greg. I see NCS principals who have gone on to become mentors, who have gone on to become assistant superintendents and superintendents, the CEO. They've become so much. I've even seen one at the state level, went to an ISB meeting and saw Ernesto Matias. I was like, I know him. That's Tito. Once an NCSer, always an NCSer. Right on, right on. You know, and in that time, we also evolved in the way that we do our work. When we started NCS, we started by creating these safe spaces. You know, spaces where adults could come together and share practice and problem solve and hopefully get better in how we serve young people. And some of you from way back then remembered our community agreements like assume positive intent and be present. Some of you are nodding and giggling. You remember those days. But then the equity imperative became stronger, deeper, more urgent, and we had to transition from these safe spaces to these brave spaces, right? Our spaces grew into those brave spaces that excavated identities and values of adults and how they impact leadership, how they impact teaching and classroom experience, and most important, how they impact the trajectory of young people's lives in the here and now. And then we moved from community agreements to community norms. Remember norms like speak your truth and stay engaged. Well, now we've evolved from that brave space to necessary space. Necessary space means we hearken to the voices and lived experiences of the young people in our classrooms, while also working to improve student achievement. It means challenging our adults to consider how their beliefs and actions either create pathways for young people or erect barriers. Barriers to students developing their whole selves. And then we moved into norms like lean into discomfort. So necessary spaces. Why us? Why now? Well, again, we're not here by happenstance. All of our experiences have led us to this moment in the here and now. We are unlearning ways that harm the fiber of students' very beings. And we're learning ways that create and sustain spaces where young people can learn and they can grow and they can contribute, where they know they belong and are pushed to be their best selves. Spaces from whence they graduate with viable post-secondary pathways that are just the right fit for them. Necessary spaces means, hey, we have to dismantle. No, forget dismantle. We have to uproot ways that perpetuate educational oppression. We are responsible for repaying the education debt owed to our young people, and particularly our Black and brown young people. Can you imagine schools where young people and adults thrive, not just survive? Can you imagine schools where young people achieve academically, in communities where they're seen and honored and held and heard? Can you imagine schools where young people graduate with the agency and identities and competencies that they need to live successful lives as adults? And for this to become a reality, we all have our unique parts to play. Hey, we play them in our classrooms, we play them in our team meetings, we play them in our offices, we play them in public and private spaces. We play them in our talk, and most importantly, we gotta play them in our walk. We at the Network of College Success are committed to playing our part. And I'm gonna read some of our commitments from our equity stance. NCS is committed to co-creating school environments that honor our young people's genius, and we work towards creating transformed student experiences. NCS is committed to leading from an understanding that transformation happens from the inside out. NCS is committed to calling our colleagues into a generative dialogue that will support the success of our least served students. So everybody in here, I invite you to a necessary space. Necessary spaces are kind, but they're not nice. Nice is telling people what they want to hear, but kind is telling them what they need to hear. Necessary spaces are rocky. They're not smooth. We don't have all of the answers, but guess what? We don't have to. We have to ask the right questions and be willing to lean in to the conversation. Necessary spaces interrupt the status quo. And most importantly, necessary spaces push us out of our own way and into the wisdom and strength necessary for building a better tomorrow with our young people, not for our young people, not at our young people, not over our young people, with our young people. So with that, family, I invite you to a necessary space. And as my father would say, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh gosh. I had to channel Pastor Herbert Muldrow. I had to. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angel and Kayla, who are going to, as in NCS fashion, engage us in some conversation.
Good evening.
I don't know how to work it, so I'll stand on my tippy toes a little bit. But so as Chris was saying, this event is a necessary space. And in these kinds of spaces, it's important to engage in dialogue with your peers in which you speak your truth, but also listen to understand. And so right now, my colleagues should be passing out cards to the guests and the participants. And we're going to engage in something called a block party. Everyone gets one card, and each card has one quote. And once you get your card, find a partner. And what we're going to ask you to do is, in 5 minutes, we're going to give you time to talk with your partner and discuss what's coming up for you with your quote, what's resonating with you. And so once everybody gets partnered up and they have their quotes, we can start the 5 minutes. Oh. I can't work this. And I forgot to introduce myself, but they already did it. Yeah. Was that okay, what I said? Oh, okay, cool.
Are you guys joining in? Do you want to join in?
Oh, I wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah, no, I don't think you need to. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay.
That was excellent.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
This
Should we
light is changing. It's so.
We're gonna start the 5 minutes now. I don't care. Yeah. Oh, you have it? Oh, cool. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Thank you.
You're on mine, hope. Carrying the team, Caleb.
No, I'm not. Don't say that.
I'm up here I'm just a face up here.
I'm just a
You're
face
the-
up here.
I'm following. You said you're gonna do like a switch, right?
I'm gonna give him the halfway point, and then you're gonna do a switch.
Yeah.
That wine was kind of strong. That second glass, a little strong.
No, like my heart's beating fast, but the rest of my body's like chilling. So I'm like,
As I was talking, I'm like, wait, do I remember what I was gonna say? It wasn't as many people. I thought it was gonna be more.
yeah, I think that's probably like my biggest man about it. It's a good, beautiful room.
Yeah.
We got speakers and speakers and speakers. Food, drinks, ambiance, posters,
Yeah.
balloons, program. But my hope, as I was like thinking about, I was thinking about that too. So like maybe this will just be like, hopefully like this will like catalyze something in the people that did come here. Like they'll remember and be like, oh my god, and I'm tell other people. Because you know that kind of like domino effect of like where like people will come and like maybe become ambassadors or advocates of your stuff. 15 seconds.
Oh my god. We're at the halfway point of the 5 minutes. If you haven't gone yet, it's your turn.
Everyone always like, oh, we already started.
Yeah, we already
We're
did.
having a conversation. And I gotta remind myself that this is not like a room full of like good people. It's like a room full of like teachers and people. The teachers like low key like are like, no, like you're good, like. But I always have to remind myself.
And you know, this is not supposed to be super formal anyway. Like
Yeah.
it's like, I mean,
Conversation.
Chris just doing. She just started singing, and it was, you know,
Oh, yeah.
like it's chill.
And this is why I say, all right.
Yeah, we're gonna switch. Yeah. I thought we're not doing a PowerPoint or not till later.
It was just like a thing that was just like auto playing. It didn't really have anything that was substantive, I guess. It was just like for a beginning thing, like speakers, a couple photos, QR code, a thing. That's pretty much it. But I guess
I thought it was gonna go the whole night.
yeah.
Oh.
But I think maybe it might have been a little distracting. I don't know if it was just like passing and shit, but I hope there's no typos. I read them, but then it was like so much. You know, you look at something so long and it's like, oh, like.
I think the chicken was the best appetizer. That chicken ball thing. Did you have it?
It's like a stick, no? Or was it like breaded?
It was breaded.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay. What did I say?
Hootie hoo. I know.
Booty.
Like testing.
All right, y'all. We're gonna put a period or a comma or an exclamation point on that. Hello? Can you hear me? We're gonna raise our hand here. Oh my God. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna do one thing and saying thank you to one another for sharing in that conversation. Thanks so much. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the card that you have, we're gonna switch with your partner. And oh, there we go. And now what we're gonna do is you're gonna find another partner, take 5-10 seconds, and we're gonna do the same thing, engage another conversation for 5 minutes. So have at it. I know, it's like. Your fiance in town?
Yeah, he is. I told him like he could come through, but he's like, I'm at the gym.
Oh.
And we also live 45 minutes away. So he was like, by the time he got here, it would have been, yeah.
I would. Daisy is here. She's in a different state.
But next time I want to bring him to something like this. Because he's met Sarah and Meg, but he hasn't met everybody else. And
Yeah.
I know he likes it's free food, free drink,
Oh.
like this.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So,
it's not on us, so.
yeah.
Say again?
I'm good.
Corona? Or. Gracias. Why not? This part's my favorite. But it's pretty good.
Is this just 30 people? Like,
Is it? I mean, I didn't see how many name tags were left out there.
oh, there's a lot. Look.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
And then when we came in here, like one more person came in.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, ooh, maybe like 5 more people are coming.
No.
No. But this is like your first in-person event while at NCS, right?
Besides Nipsey, yeah.
Oh yeah. But I guess like not PD.
Right, yeah. Yeah, not PD. Oh no, I'm good. Thank you. That's tall. Thursday.
Last Friday. If you haven't switched already, you can switch right now.
They're not holding me.
Well, because I don't know how it looks like.
All right, guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All boozy and shit. Some boozy dialogue.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one motherfucking thing. This one right here, baby. That's it. That's it.
Oh.
Like, we all just got teary-eyed and tingling.
Oh, that was me.
Because our inner children were just crying. Like, because as children, we would, child, we just don't go on somebody's motherfucking website. And
We're keeping these cards, so yeah.
So, Kim should write a blog post about her reaction to that book.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. No, I know. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hey, but if you like, Kim would be like, no, you trust me for everything. The rest of us, please. Damn it.
And there's more of what? No, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's more copies. Yeah.
4 or 5 copies.
Oh. Yeah, someone left this one. Oh yeah. But yeah, I remember I was looking up quotes and he wrote like a book on like education or whatever, and that was one of the quotes that I remember I pulled. I've never heard of
That was a
John
good
Hope.
quote.
Yeah. I wanted to look up. I think he passed away already, but he wrote like a lot of books on like this kind of stuff. At first, I thought she was coming over to her and be like, we're in trouble.
I know. I was like, is it a bad quote? Like, shit.
I didn't do it.
Oh god, I gotta put it off.
Alright.
Including words. Alright, y'all. You could start putting a exclamation point or a period on that. Thank you. And once again, if we can thank our partners for sharing in our respective dialogues. Thanks so much for, a little louder? Sorry, I have a monotone voice. Thanks so much for engaging in this activity. I know that maybe there was a connection that you just created right now or just strengthened the connection right now. So I just want to also, Kayla and I want to thank you so much for engaging in this. Definitely relates to the theme of necessary spaces. And yeah, feel free, please, to keep the cards if you wanted to keep them. But now I'm going to just turn it back over to Chris, and we're going to have a little fireside chat right now with a couple of special guests right now. So thanks so much.
like this one, can you speak this one? Like one, listen to that.
I'm gonna close with this.
Close with it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should just pass them. Here he comes. He's here to hook us up. Thank you. I need some gum.
And then
Oh.
like clip it to the jacket.
Mingle while we set up.
Maybe go like.
Here?
You got it, testing?
Uh-oh.
Should be good. Oh wait.
Hello?
Excuse me.
Hello?
Do I have it on?
I won't sing like her.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
That
you were
works?
saying he was blessed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There goes my water.
Now we need to not talk.
Don't talk about it. All right, everybody.
Testing, testing.
I have to. I'm trying not to knock anybody out.
I'm sure you're fine.
We all family.
Are we too close? We're too close to you or us?
We might, yeah, we are.
I'll go sit back there.
Is it me? It might be me.
Maybe we need to be.
Dawn, your heels are giving me life, honey.
I'm not sure.
It's probably.
Should we share a microphone?
I turned it off. I think you're okay. I don't know. I'm kind of loud. It probably is.
It's still there.
It's us.
Still there. I think we're too close.
Maybe we need to sit and
You sit in this.
Yeah.
look at us problem solving.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, people, humans, folks. We're about to engage in what we are calling our version of a fireside chat. So I just want you to imagine a crackling fire behind us. We're wearing our fuzzy slippers,
Yes.
sitting with gigantic mugs of cocoa this autumn evening. And I think we're okay on the sound. We're okay on the sound. You two solved that. Come on. Right on. So again, thank you to Angel and Kayla for leading us through this wonderful block party. Had some really great conversations. Again, we invite you to a fireside chat. And I want to introduce you to some longtime NCSers.
Yes.
Right on. Who have been education champions, engaging in this work of necessary spaces right here in the city of Chicago. First, I introduce you, or present to some because most of us know Megan Hogar. Megan Hogar. Chief of College and Career Success here, yes, at Chicago Public Schools. As the Chief of College and Career Success, Megan helps ensure that Chicago Public Schools provide students with the support services and programming to support their future after high school graduation. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
And we also have Principal Dawn Ramos. Principal of Tilden Community Career Academy. Did you notice I didn't say Dawn? I tried. I practiced in the bathroom. I'm always like, Dawn. Yes, Dawn.
That's our thing.
That's a thing?
That's our thing.
That's our thing, Dawn. As principal, she continues to focus on what it means to be a school that supports all students with a focus on anti-racist practices. So let's dive right on in, Megan and Dawn. I feel like we're so far apart. We should have a couch. Like, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna try to stay on these stools. I'm gonna try not to fall off. All right, so you two have been in education for quite some time, and you've seen and experienced a lot over the years. As educators who are cultivating necessary spaces, what do you think is the most important thing we can do to better serve our students right now? No, we're just going straight in.
Can I jump in?
That's right.
You know, we've been talking a lot about the return post-pandemic and really recognizing we're not out
we're not out of the pandemic, and it felt great to come back to school, and everyone was so excited to be there, literally everyone. But we still have to be intentional around building community. Like, it feels good, we're back together, we're happy to see each other. Now we're 5 weeks in, and we have to be intentional. I think that point of collective responsibility to do that is something that I can't stress enough. And now in my new role in central office, so also thinking about like, what's my collective responsibility to create that, to protect that space so that schools can do that intentional work.
I didn't know if you can hear me. Hello, everyone. I'll add. Thanks, Emily. I think what's most important for us right now is to pause and slow down. I think we knew pre-pandemic school wasn't really working for everyone, and the pandemic really shed a spotlight that school isn't working for everyone. So we really need to slow down so we don't repeat past mistakes. We don't start doing or going back to old ways. We have to listen to our young people. They bring so much to our classrooms, and we don't always stop and ask about their experience to better understand what we need to do as the adult to enhance that experience. And so when we ask kids what's going on in the classroom and we hear from them, we also need to co-create some spaces so they see themselves in the space. So when we ask you again, you are going to tell us what's on your mind, because you see that I'm really using your voice to impact how I'm creating this learning environment for you.
Right on. It begs the question then, how do we set the conditions that make it safe for young people to do that?
You want me to go?
Either one of you can jump right on in before Emily starts up again.
We have to set those conditions for adults. We need to make it safe for adults to be vulnerable and to be able to take risks and to be able to think about their impact on their classrooms and reflect on what they're bringing to the space and create some conditions and structures and systems that will allow adults to be in a space together to, one, challenge beliefs and mindsets, right? We cannot go into something thinking that the adult is the beholder of everything, all things that are in the classroom. We have to be open and willing to interrogate our beliefs in a way that is going to shift what I'm doing to impact what kids need me to be doing. Kids don't need to change. The adults are the ones who need to change. The adults are the ones who need to understand their impact and the work that they need to better learn or unlearn, right? Because there's a lot of unlearning to traditional school. And so we have to unlearn a lot of ways of being in order to be in spaces with kids and in spaces where we're really trying to impact what's going on with kids by virtue of their voice.
I would add too, it's the conditions at all the levels. So when we talk about the practice in the schools and the adult practice, the district level, the policy, big P policy, and also thinking about like, what does my daily work look like? And I've been thinking a lot about how we do lift up and protect student voice, and not just student voice committees, because we've gotten a lot of traction around that, but student voice committees are really about the democratic process as a school, not as much about the students' ability to affect and direct their own education. And so if I think about where is there room for policy, it's also policy that instead of narrowing power, protects it and creates, really enshrines student and community power as part of that policy. And we've started doing some work. I mean, look at everyone in this room and think about the work that we're driving change at the district level. Have you ever heard CPS say that we're focusing on connectedness and wellness? we're saying that. We're putting that stake in the ground that we have to create the conditions where students feel connected and feel a sense of belonging, that wellness includes adult wellness and wellness of the system. And that is progress, and that is progress in a lot of ways driven by everyone in this room and by this collective of learning.
Right on. I hear elements of collectivism in what you're saying, the two of you are saying. I also hear elements of individual responsibility and being able to hold up the mirror and really talk to that person in the mirror about how they're showing up for young people each and every day, no matter where they are in the district, whether you're a classroom teacher all the way up to CEO Martinez. We all are playing our part. So then I hear you mention NCS, so it makes me ask this question. How has your relationship with us informed the way that you are setting the conditions both at the school level and setting them within your office, Megan?
I mean, I grew up as an educator in Chicago through NCS. When you said 2006, that's the year I came to Chicago. I did my principal residency at Kenwood at the time when FOT was really born, and that relationship has continued. I wrote down some of the words that you said, Dawn. As I was getting ready for this, like, how has NCS helped me? It helped me slow down. It helped me think about building community. It helped me think about the adult work. And that, like, growing up in my leadership and thinking about calling people in versus calling them out, and what does the data really mean? It means students, it means community, it means our overall practice. Really, I really do attribute that learning to the partnership with NCS.
And one of the things I learned early on from NCS is the people closest to the problem are the ones that best can solve the problem. And so the building of capacity within schools and school teams and school leaders is what really impacts the way in which we work. And I think creating those spaces of vulnerability through the use of norms, through the use of protocols, were ways in which we can engage adults in difficult conversations that to some degree depersonalize and to some degree personalize, but in a safe space to then getting to brave spaces, right? So when I hear you say this or when I see you do that, let's talk about how that impacts kids. And NCS has been instrumental with helping us build the capacity of individuals in the building, right? The school leader cannot be the leader, the only person in the building leading change. It really, change depends on everyone in the building, and NCS has also really helped us to put young people at the center of our work and thinking about who's in your building, what do they need, and how might the adults shift whatever it is that they're doing to impact what kids need. And it was done in such a way that never made me, or maybe, I don't know, some of my colleagues, but we've always felt like the push was so genuine and so much out of the love for the kids in this city, in this community, that you're bought into the partnership. I'm a lifer. Sarah was my original coach, and Sarah would watch me stumble. And I wasn't stumbling, because I genuinely was trying to stumble, but she knew if I was gonna grow, she had to let me find my way. And those were really important growing opportunities for me. And I really learned that as a leader, I have to watch my teacher leaders. We can grow and learn, but it's really the capacity building, because if the partnership isn't there, the people are still in the building.
That's true. And so I hear you said safe space, you said brave space, And so I ask the question now, what are some bright spots on the horizon for you in terms of necessary space?
I'm excited for our journey to become an anti-racist school. We have really been looking at some of our local school policies and trying to identify, like, whose policy is this? Who's being served in this policy? And when you look at the policy, it's like every system, right? It's designed to get the results it's designed to get. So we have been breaking down some things within our nexus and locus of control as a way to break down and disrupt what's going on in our building, and as a way to really impact our school community so that our kids feel like they see themselves, all of their beautiful selves, everything that they're bringing to the school community, and will help them become invested in who we are as a school community. So my kids are my joy factor. Ask me any day of the week, my kids, they are my joy factor. Sometimes I have bad days and lunchroom, classroom, it's the kids that bring me up. Like, they are the ones who really fill my cup. So I am looking forward to the path we're on. Enrollment is up. I'm excited. And for us as a small school to have enrollment up, it's a big deal, and there's just a good feeling. It feels good. It feels good, and CO Martinez, it does feel different this year. It does feel different. I'm looking forward to it.
There's so many things I'm looking forward to. This is my first year not in a school-facing role. I would say Networks is still school-facing. I'm looking forward to really celebrating senior year this year. It feels like we haven't been able to do that, and that as a school person was always my joy. It's like, your baby's graduating and seeing them going on to do the next thing. I'm excited for the first class of seniors at Inglewood STEM. When you talk about brave spaces, that whole process is a brave space that still causes me to think and reflect. But the kids there are, again, as CEO was talking, the kids are proving everyone wrong when we think about where are the limits and where are the gatekeepers. And we're seeing that really across the whole district. When we look at the pandemic and see where kids did well, our high school students did well, our early college data did well, our kids who took virtual shared remote dual credit did well. Like, the opportunities where we still created those spaces and really supported young people, but just uprooted those gatekeepers. And I'm excited to do more of that work, but also just really feel it in person this year and keep me reminded, like, why are we doing this?
Right on. So thank you for joining me on the couch.
Thank you.
With our warm, crackling fire. We're going to go back to our cocoa shortly, but I want to close with this. This is a quote from John Holt. Trust children. Nothing could be more simple or more difficult. Difficult because to trust children, we must learn to trust ourselves. And most of us were taught as children that we could not be trusted.
Yes. Yes.
And with that, I thank you, Megan. I thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
For joining us for this fireside chat. And you too get a gift. You too get a gift.
Is it an NCS?
Here we go. Check it out. Right on.
Can we give it up one more time for this panel? So I have the honor of closing us out, and then we have some time that we can just hang out and enjoy each other, because that is one of the real objectives of this evening. Our dean mentioned it. I want to bring the spirit of Melissa Roderick into the room, not because she's dead, but because she's not here. And I spoke to her this week. I know, I said the spirit, and I had a whole problem. Tanea, stop laughing at me. And I just want to say, like, Melissa came to me and she's like, what do you think? Do you think we could get a bunch of principals together and talk about the research? And I was like, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. That could be good. And the reason, part of Melissa's brilliance, I've never seen anyone look at data like she looks at. Like, she looked at data like she was reading. Well, that's not true. I know you do it, Jenny. I know you do it, Elaine. But it was new to me. It was new to me, right? Like, she took so much time and just looked and looked and looked for the patterns and where, like, what's in there. It was fascinating for me. I was used to people looking at things quickly and coming to a quick conclusion and moving on. And Melissa said, the answers are in the field. So I'm bringing back what Dawn said, right? Like, the people closest to the problem. She's like, I know a lot about what's happening. I've done a lot of research, but the answers are in the field. And I feel like that brilliance is what still illuminates our work today. We know a lot of things. We know a lot of things, and the answers are still in the field. They're still in the field. And Melissa, I talked to Melissa this week. She couldn't be with us today. She's doing all right. And she said we should have a big 20th anniversary celebration and talk about healing. So that's coming. I want to pull up what I've heard this evening in the move from safe to brave to necessary spaces. To me, what makes that transition is courage. And so the question is, where do you get courage from? And the quote I've been contemplating, a Lau quote, is, being loved deeply gives you strength, and loving someone else deeply gives you courage. And I've been contemplating that for some weeks. And I will say, it's not only the love for the children, which I think does animate all of us, right? It's the love, like my own personal 9th grader in the Chicago Public School, right? But also all the kids, and also the love for myself at that age. And I'm coming back to what you said, CEO Martinez, about like others who saw something in you, right? And what do we see in young people? Is delightful, like brings us joy, right? And that is what is going to carry us forward as a community. So the courage, and finding the courage to move into a necessary space where you may not feel safe to take a risk, but risks don't necessarily feel safe. That's kind of the point. And that's okay, right? And it's okay to stumble, right? And it's okay. So back to Chris's intention of gratitude. We're so grateful for each of you. I'm speaking, I think, for both of us. So grateful for each of you today, what you bring, how hard you work. There is so much work in this room. There's so many late nights. There's so many early mornings. And there's so much heart. And the combination of the courage, the heart, and that hard work, it's bearing fruit. It's bearing fruit. And it's not just the graph. Like, I'm really happy about the graph. I'm really happy about the graph because I know who's inside that graph, right? I know the young people that Melissa showed us, the consortium showed us. You could be the same kid living on the other side of the street, and you go to that high school and you graduate, and you go to that high school and you don't. That's the same kid, right? So we know that. We know that. And inside that graph, it's not just graduating. It's young people feeling loved, feeling like their brilliance is being seen, feeling they belong in a community of achievement, which is Teresa Perry, right? A community of achievement. Everyone is going to be a part of that, and they are a part of it, and they don't need to compete against their classmates. They can all win because we need them all to win. Thank you so much. We're so deeply grateful for all of you.
I just want to say, Paige Founder was Chris's mirror at the district. Back in 2009, when we were writing the Freshman Success Framework and took that work to 1 million degrees and helped kids at community colleges, and just really appreciate you being here tonight.
Absolutely. All right, we have more alcohol, we have more food. We would like you to enjoy each other, enjoy this beautiful sort of darkening skyline. We're very grateful for you.